Once upon a time, in a cozy little house, lived a kitten named Mittens. But he was no ordinary kitten. He was Super Kitten. He wore a tiny red cape and a blue suit with a big S on the chest. His mission to keep the world safe from yarn monsters and runaway laser dots. He was very brave and very, very cute. He loved helping everyone. He would push his food bowl closer to the dog. He would meow loudly to wake up his family in the morning. He was the best hero a family could ask for. He was small, but his heart was super big. Today, on the bright and sunny afternoon of November 16th, 2025, Super Kitten was tired. Being a hero is hard work, you know. He had just finished a long battle with a tricky shoelace that tried to trip his owner. He won, of course. Now it was time for a super nap. He curled up on his favorite fluffy pillow, his little red cape spread out like a puddle of cherry juice. He closed his eyes and started to dream of chasing giant butterflies and drinking from rivers of milk. It was the most peaceful, most heroic nap ever. But as Super Kitten snored his tiny snores, something strange happened. A little green centipede, no bigger than an eyelash, wiggled out from under the pillow. It wasn't a normal centipede. This one glowed with a soft, spooky green light. It crawled slowly, quietly, up the pillow and onto Super Kitten's soft, furry back. The centipede seemed to be looking for something. It wiggled its many legs and crept towards Super Kitten's ear, drawn by the warmth and the soft purring sounds coming from inside. It was a sneaky, glowing bug on a secret mission. The glowing green centipede reached Super Kitten's ear and paused for a moment. It wiggled its antennae, then, with a tiny pop, it wriggled right inside. Poof, it was gone. Super Kitten didn't even twitch a whisker. He just kept on dreaming his happy hero dreams. But now, something was different. Deep inside, the little green critter began its mysterious work. The peaceful nap was about to turn into a wild, wacky adventure. The world had no idea that its tiniest hero was about to change in a very big, very strange way. Super Kitten woke up with a jolt. His tummy was making a noise. It wasn't a happy purr. It was a loud, grumbly, rumbly sound. Grumble! Wumble! He felt a hunger he had never felt before. It was a super hunger. He hopped off his pillow, his cape fluttering behind him. He needed to eat. Now! He zoomed into the kitchen, his little legs a blur of motion. The first thing he saw was a big bowl of noodles left on the table. He didn't hesitate. He leaped onto the chair and started slurping them up like a vacuum cleaner. Slurp, slurp, slurp. After the noodles, he was still hungry. His tummy glowed with a faint green light. He saw a shiny red apple on the counter. Chomp, chomp, chomp. He ate the whole thing, core and all. Then he smelled something cheesy. He followed his nose to the refrigerator and found a giant block of Swiss cheese. He nibbled and gnawed, creating more holes in the already holy cheese. He ate and ate and ate, but the hunger would not go away. His belly was getting bigger and bigger, like a balloon being filled with air. It was round and tight and glowed brighter with every bite. Next, he spotted the fish tank. Inside, some funny-looking fish were swimming around. They were glowing fish. His eyes went wide. The hunger was too strong. With a mighty leap, he dove headfirst into the fish tank. Splash! Water went everywhere. He gobbled up the glowing fish in one gulp. Glub, glub. Now his belly was glowing like a green traffic light. It was so big he could barely walk. He waddled around the room, his giant tummy bumping into furniture. He looked less like a superhero and more like a furry green beach ball. His family heard the commotion and ran into the room. Mittens! What happened to you? They cried, seeing their tiny kitten with a gigantic glowing belly. Super Kitten could only look at them with wide, confused eyes. His tummy rumbled louder than ever before. It wasn't just rumbling anymore, it was vibrating. It jiggled and wiggled. The green light pulsed, getting brighter and brighter. Something was about to happen. Something big. Something very, very strange. Everyone held their breath, watching the glowing kitten in the middle of the floor. The glowing green belly jiggled and wobbled. It grew bigger and bigger and bigger. It stretched so much that you could almost see through it. Inside, things were swirling around like a green tornado. You could see the shadow of noodles, an apple core, and the faint outline of glowing fish. Super Kitten looked very worried. His tiny S costume was stretched tight over his enormous tummy. He let out a tiny, squeaky meow. It sounded more like a squeak from a balloon losing its air. The room was silent except for the humming, buzzing sound coming from his belly. Suddenly, the light flashed brightly. 1, 2, 3. A loud sound echoed through the house. It wasn't a boom, and it wasn't a bang. It was a soft, squishy thwomp. Super Kitten's belly didn't explode like a bomb. It popped open like a flower blooming in fast motion. A cloud of shimmery green dust filled the air, smelling faintly of cheese and apples. When the dust cleared, Super Kitten was gone. His little red cape and blue suit lay empty on the floor in a sad little pile. His family gasped, staring at the spot where their kitten used to be. But he wasn't really gone. From the center of the green dust cloud, something started to rise. It was long and wiggly, with many, many legs. It had the head of a kitten, with the same cute face and big eyes. But now, his eyes were glowing a spooky bright red. His body was no longer small and furry. It was the long, segmented body of a giant green centipede. He had become a cat-headed centipede monster. He wiggled his new body, clicking his many legs on the wooden floor. Click-clack, click-clack. The new monster kitten looked around the room with his glowing red eyes. He saw his family, who were frozen in shock. He opened his mouth, but instead of a meow, a strange, chittering sound came out. Chitter, chitter, meow? He seemed just as confused as everyone else. He tried to take a step, but with 100 legs to coordinate, he just ended up tripping over himself in a big, wiggly pile. This wasn't the scary monster he looked like. He was just a clumsy, confused kitten in a very, very long and leggy new body. Worried, the family carefully scooped up the cat centipede monster, wrapped him in a blanket, and rushed him to the animal hospital. As they ran into the emergency room, the doctors and nurses stopped and stared. "What is that?" one doctor shouted, pointing with a shaky finger. The head was a cute kitten, but the body was a giant glowing green centipede that was at least 6 feet long. The creature's red eyes blinked, and it let out another sad chitter meow. Panic filled the room as nurses ran for cover, and a doctor fainted. It was chaos. The head veterinarian, Dr. Giggles, was a woman who had seen everything. She had treated parrots who thought they were dogs, and dogs who thought they were lampshades. She walked calmly toward the creature. "Well, hello there, little fella, or long fella," she said, patting his kitten head. The cat centipede purred, and his long body wiggled happily, knocking over a tray of medical tools with a loud crash. Dr. Giggles put on her glasses and examined the creature. Feline head, insectoid body, glows in the dark. Fascinating, she declared with a smile. Dr. Giggles decided to take an x-ray. She needed the help of 5 nurses to lift the long, wiggly body onto the table. When the x-ray picture appeared on the screen, everyone gasped. There, right in the middle of the centipede body, was a tiny, glowing shape. It was the little green centipede from before, but it wasn't moving. It was fast asleep, with a tiny smile on its face and a full, round belly. It had eaten all the food Super Kitten had swallowed, and the food had made it grow, stretching the kitten into this new shape. Just then, the sleeping centipede on the x-ray let out a tiny, magical burp. On the x-ray screen, it vanished. At the same exact moment, the cat centipede monster on the table began to shrink. Whoop! In a flash of green light, he was back to being a normal kitten, wearing his stretched-out super suit. He shook his head, looked around, and let out a happy meow. Dr. Giggles laughed. "Well," she said, "it seems he just had a little indigestion." Super Kitten was a hero again, and the only monster left was the giant mess he had to clean up back home. This is a fictional story created for fun. No animals or people were harmed, and all events are purely imaginary and intended for young readers to enjoy.